Jeremy Aschenbrenner, the BA Guide here, ready to tackle another question, and that is, what steps are taken to actually initiate a new project? Ultimately, how do we go from an idea to an actual project that forms up a project team and is moved forward? Before a project is started, it has to start out as an idea, an identification of some type of business need, or an uncovering of some type of business opportunity. This could be something to do with adjusting or streamlining a process. This could be setting up new software. This could be adjusting the reporting structure of how the organization works, etc. The list goes on and on based on different companies and industry. But the idea is that making some type of change will create some value for the business, whether that's time savings, cost or money savings, morale for the employees, happiness for the customers. There's some type of value that'll be generated from that idea being fulfilled. Once that idea is popped up and it's been defined and refined and made sure that the root cause of that particular problem or the root opportunity is discovered and laid out in some type of paragraph format stating what the whole point of moving forward with this would be, what the idea is, and what is to gain for the business. Once that's done, then you need to sell the business on the idea. And you do that generally through a business case. A business case is a document that's put together, and this is before a project becomes a project. This is still when it's in its idea phase, and you're kind of moving into the validation phase. Within that business case, you're outlining and defining the problem, making sure that that's well scoped and understood. You're also defining what the solution could be, like what is the idea of the solution. Not specifically, hey, we're going to go purchase this piece of software. Hey, we're going to adjust the process and remove these steps. You don't want to go into that much detail. This is just an idea, a theory. And that theory could be, we're going to be able to cut our customer complaints in half by adding software that makes us 200% more efficient. So that would be the value statement to the business, and you could go into some details there as to how you came up with those numbers or what that's being based on. So now you presented the problem, the value to the business if they solve that problem, and now you need to lay out the estimated steps it would take to get there. Again, these aren't refined steps. This is just general. You want to lay out a potential schedule or how long this project would take, what kind of resources you need, and the anticipated cost of not only running the project, but supporting that project, kind of that outcome, that deliverable, that end point of that project for years to come. That way you can see the cost of the project from the lifetime. You can then butt that up against the value proposition that you did earlier to help show the return on investment, whether that's money or time or morale or satisfaction. Some of those can be measured, some of them can't. But the business case is helping to lay that out and show the business, basically sell them on the idea that we need to create a project team and we need to attack this idea or solve this problem and move it forward, because there's huge business value by doing that. That business case goes up usually through an executive team from a company, and it gets a sponsor, somebody that's willing to pay for that project. Generally, this is going to be the lead or the head, VP potentially, of the department that's going to benefit the most from this project. But it can sometimes be a conglomerate, a committee that gets formed, whatever. But there's always going to be some type of sponsor, somebody that's fronting the budget for that project to be moved forward. And when you get that sponsor, when they officially approve that idea, that business case, you've now become a project. You're official. You have the necessary funding and budget to get that project started onto the next phase. And the last big phase of the initiation is creating a project charter. This project charter is used to introduce new people into the project. So you want enough information in that project charter that somebody completely unfamiliar, unrelated when that project was just an idea, somebody that wasn't part of that, to be able to read the project charter and understand what the project is doing and who's involved and how it's going to be completed. Once you have that project charter, then we're going through the last steps of the initiation phase of pulling everybody together and really starting to get that project kicked off. To come full circle, before a project becomes a project, it starts out as an idea. That idea is defined and refined and put into a business case. The business case helps to sell the business on the value, ultimately the return on investment, for creating a project to take care of that idea, ultimately whatever that problem they identified, whatever that opportunity they uncovered, and actually create a project to move forward. Once the business case is approved and has a sponsor and has necessary budgeting, ultimately money backing to move forward, then it gets turned into a project charter. The project charter outlines everything for the project at a high level, the scope, the costs, what value there is, who's going to be engaged, all that information that anybody coming into the project would need to have and need to understand. And that project charter is really then utilized to start that project. Kickoff meetings are scheduled and stakeholders are invited, and we start to move through the rest of the project phases.